Hello, fourth grade, and welcome to lesson 13-4. In this lesson, we're going to start working with metric units of length, so millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. Let's go ahead and start our short video lesson, and then we'll jump into our notes and our guided practice.
How can you convert from one metric unit of length to another?
Let's find out.
For the standing long jump, Corey jumped 2 meters and Gary jumped 175 centimeters. Who jumped farther? Metric units of length include meters, kilometers, centimeters, and millimeters. Of these units, which is the shortest?
Select your answer.
Millimeters are the shortest unit. Kilometers are the longest. The table shows equivalent metric measures of length. What do you notice about the equivalent measures in the table? The equivalent measures all involve 10, 100, or 1,000. So you can easily convert metric units using a multiple of 10. Step 1. Convert 2 meters to centimeters. Why do you need to convert 2 meters to centimeters? To compare the distances the boys jumped, the distances must be in the same unit. Which equivalent measures should you use?
Select your answer.
Use the equation 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Multiply the number of meters, 2, by 100 to find the equivalent number of centimeters. 2 times 100 equals 200 centimeters. Corey jumped 200 centimeters. How is converting meters to centimeters like converting feet to inches? To convert feet to inches, you multiply the number of feet by 12, the number of inches in 1 foot. To convert meters to centimeters, you multiply the number of meters by 100, the number of centimeters in 1 meter. Step 2. Compare the lengths jumped. 200 centimeters is greater than 175 centimeters. So Corey jumped farther than Gary.
Now you know how to convert from one unit of metric length to another.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our notes and our guided practice together. Now for lesson 13-4, we're working with equivalences in the metric system, specifically units of length. So the metric units of length are meters, kilometers, centimeters, and millimeters. And this is how we convert. So 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. 1 meter is equal to 10 centimeters, which is the same thing as 1,000 millimeters. And 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. And then you can break it down further if you want to. Now, millimeters are used to measure extremely tiny things, like the length of a ladybug or an ant. So this right here is the length of 1 millimeter. A centimeter is about this long. Centimeters are used to measure small objects like the length of an eraser or a crayon or a key or a paper clip. You can use centimeters for that. Meters measure larger objects like the length of a classroom, the length of a moving truck, the length of a car ride to a friend's house who lives nearby. And kilometers are used to measure longer distances like the distances between cities or the distance of a plane ride from one state or country to another. Kendra and Lily measured the length of several rosebuds. The longest one Kendra measured was 2.4 centimeters long. The longest one that Lily measured was 1.8 centimeters long. Who measured the longest rosebud? Use a linear model to show your answer. So linear model, linear comes from the word line, so we're using a number line. So I have my number line over here that's broken into equal parts. So each section is broken into 10, right? Because when we're working with centimeters and millimeters, we're working in multiples of tens. So 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, and onwards. 1.8 centimeters is going to be right here. That's where Lily measured. And 2.4 is where Kendra measured. Now 2.4 is greater than 1.8. So Kendra's rosebud is longer than Lily's rosebud. For our next example, we're going to convert 2 meters to centimeters and to millimeters. So if 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters and 100 centimeters or 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters, 2 meters is going to be 2 times 100, which gives me 200 centimeters, or it's going to be 2 times 1,000 to give me 2,000 millimeters. Our next example says signs are placed at the beginning and end of a 3-kilometer hiking trail. Signs are also placed every 500 meters along the trail. How many signs are placed on this trail? So we know 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So if it's placed every 500 meters, that means every halfway point. So I have from 0 to 3 over here to show my 3 kilometers. And I split each one of my holes in half to show the 500 meter mark. Now, the question is telling me that there are signs at the beginning and end and everywhere in between. Now, usually when we're counting, if we're counting 3 and we want to count it in groups of halves, we're going to count 3 times 2 is 6. But since we also have a mark at the 0 marker, so at the starting point, every 500 meters, and at the ending point, that gives us 7 signs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 signs from 0 to 3, because we're counting the 0 here. Usually we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't count that initial point, but here, because the question specifically tells us that, we have to count it. For our guided practice, number 1 says, what metric unit would you use to measure the length of a field? So if you're measuring the length of a field, you're using meters. You're not going to use kilometers because that's really, really big. You're going to use kind of a medium-sized unit. For number 2, we're converting 5 kilometers into meters. Now I know 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, so 5 kilometers is 1,000 times 5, or 5,000 meters. And for number 3, we're going to convert 75 centimeters into millimeters. Now we know 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, so 75 centimeters is going to be 10 times 75, or 750 millimeters. That takes us to the end of this really quick lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.